Welcome to the Books and Martinis podcast.
I'm Priya.
And I'm Mercy.
And this is your go-to book podcast,
where we lift, empower, and spotlight authors.
Grab your martini and follow along.
And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.
Hey, book lovers. This episode of Books and Martinis is brought to you by our wonderful sponsors. BlueBox Media, you dream it, we produce it. And Travel with Samantha Cividanes, specializing in luxury cruises. Ooh. Their support keeps the stories, authors, and conversations flowing. Don't forget to visit them and support the brands that support this podcast. Now the martinis are poured, let's get into the episode. What's up, everyone? Welcome to our podcast. I'm Priya.
And I'm Mercy. Welcome, everybody, and a very special welcome to Maya. Maya, cheers.
Maya, cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome to Books and Martinis.
Cheers. Mm-hmm.
Salud. We're so excited to have you on. On the screen and in your ears is Maya-Gawonii Shabazz-Saleh. We are so excited to have you. And we're talking about her book, My Roommate is Trying to Kill Me. Thank you for being our guest today. So let's kick it off. I'm going to read your bio because you have such an interesting background. And we were talking offline before the interview that you have such a soft life, but you're a horror writer, which I love that dichotomy. I love it. I love it. Okay. So Maya-Gawonii is an author, critical essayist, and DEI consultant whose work moves between liberation frameworks, horror as political, analytical, and fiction across genres. Her essays appear in Dead Pretty, Nottingham Horror Collective, forthcoming in 2026, and Echoes of the Earth, Black Voices Reclaiming Ecology and Justice from Cassava Republic Press, forthcoming, among 12 other publications in 2020. Girl, you're on fire. That's a lot. She is the author of 3 books and the founder of Kauri Crossings, a consulting practice rooted in trauma-informed and liberation frameworks. Her horror romance, My Roommate is Trying to Kill Me, is forthcoming. She lives in the San Francisco Bay Area. Welcome. Another applause.
Welcome, Maya. Yeah.
Thank you.
We're so excited to have you. So,
Thank
Maya,
you.
tell us about yourself. There's not enough time to hear all about this. I want to know more.
Yeah, I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, Oakland to be exact. I'm a mom. I have a preteen, which is crazy to think of. My kid's gonna be 13 next year.
Wow.
Yeah, my only one too. So I'm like, I'm gonna be an empty nester one day soon, 6 years.
Someday.
But yeah,
live in the moment. Live in the
I
moment.
know, trying not to, count my chickens and all that. But yeah, I'm a mom. I am a full-time consultant. So I consult with community groups, sometimes like libraries, heavily with nonprofits, and I do like DEIA plus work. So trying to take workplaces into like a more holistic, human-centered, not as transactional of a relationship that we sometimes experience in workplaces. And then besides that, I spend pretty much all day long, every day writing. So full-time consultant, but also full-time, if not more time, author.
Plus full-time mom. Because
full-time, all of it.
All of it. Mm-hmm.
All the things.
Built. Yeah.
right.
Crazy.
Trying to give 100% to everything.
Yeah. So what does a writing day look like for you? How does that day look?
Yeah, I, when my spouse gets up in the morning to go to work, if I haven't already been awake for hours before my spouse, because sometimes I'm trying to get better about waking up at a reasonable hour and not just waking up at like 4 a.m. But when my spouse gets up for work, they help me bring my things to my kitchen table. I'm going to have an office soon. In 3 months, our back room is getting turned into my office, and I'll be very happy. But I take all my stuff to my kitchen, and I sit there and I write until my spouse gets home. And my spouse gets home around like 6 or 7 p.m. And sometimes I write past that, but I really try to have this is like marriage time, and I'm not gonna ignore you and
another job,
another 100%.
Yeah, but sometimes if you're like in a flow state, and I'm like, oh, just it's like when you're reading, you're like one more chapter. I'm like just one more like paragraph.
Right.
But yeah, I write all day long, and I say that being like, it's not always the same thing. It's not always writing one project for 8 to 10 hours. Sometimes I'll write like my work in progress for, what's coming after my roommate's trying to kill me. Then sometimes I have like magazine publications that I have due dates for, that I'm revising things for or submitting things to, or I do poetry. So I always write, but it's not always on the same thing, or else that would be really, it would get really, the same thing every day. And I can't do
repetitive.
that. I would go crazy. Yeah, repetitive. Thank you.
Yes. No, I hear you. I feel that. Aw. And so when you sit in the kitchen and you do your actual book writing, like when you're focused on your book, do you have like a zone you go into? Do you have music going on, a timer, a set goal of my minimum is 2 hours today, or I have to have coffee? Like, what's specific and different about you
what's the vibe
when it comes to writing? Yeah.
What's the vibe?
Yeah, I will say the one thing that I do that I know that other authors do this, but I don't know any authors in my circle at least. So I've been like spreading the gospel about this. I'm like, look, before you even write your first like word on the page for your new endeavor, writing endeavor, whatever it is, I go on I use Tidal. Everyone uses Spotify. I need to get on Spotify probably, but I use Tidal, and I make a soundtrack for what I'm about to write. And it's like, this song is this atmosphere, or this song is what the character is thinking when they look at the main character, whatever. I create the soundtrack. And then when I write, I listen to the soundtrack on repeat. So I try to make it long enough that I don't go crazy. But so I try to make it like 2 hours long at least, so it's not like super repeat. But yeah, that's the very first thing I have to do. I get my Red Bull. I set a timer to remind myself to eat. And when I'm really
that's important.
Yeah, I will forget. I will really forget. And sometimes my spouse is like, "Did you eat? Because you're like shaking. You're like a little weak when I get home from work." But I set a timer to remind myself to eat, and I'll have like a chocolate banana protein shake in the morning, and then I will have a chili cheese dog for lunch. That is my writing fuel. I'm like,
funny. That's awesome.
And then that's it. And then I make dinner for my family. But that's kind of how I get into my zone. It has to be the same every time, or else I can't like get in the same headspace.
Yep, I hear you. I go through the same thing. I do the protein shake and then I sit down. And funny enough, I started this. That was super funny, but I'll share it with you. So I have this little box. I've had this little cute little thing for, oh my God, maybe 30 years now. Oh, it was just a decoration. But I got chips, poker chips, old poker chips. I have 6 of them. So I put them in here, and each one represents 30 minutes.
Oh, that's fun.
Every really time cool. I do 30 minutes, I take it out, or I pull them out and then I put it in. And so my goal is to read, to write that much every day.
It's like that process, that writing process. What's the name of it?
I don't know, but I know
20 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. It's a whole.
I know what you're talking about. I'm in a writer's club, and we do that.
Yeah, there's a name for it. I can't remember the name. There's a name for it.
I know. So what I do is, that's it. I have my little chips. So I'm not going to say her name, but it starts with an A. So I tell her, start timer for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then when she says 30 minutes are up, I'm like, okay, so one was accomplished. And then I'll take a break. And
I love it.
Anyway, just because I have to be doing the same thing to get into that mind space that we were talking about.
Yep.
So,
you know what I'm really interested in is like, so you have this part of your life, this amazing, beautiful part of your life. And not to say that horror isn't beautiful in its own way, right? So what made you interested in that genre?
Yeah, well, it's really interesting because I feel like the origins of me being interested in horror, it sounds sad, but I promise it isn't. There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
It's not sad. It's exciting. It's exciting.
It is. Like I was never into horror. I was so afraid. I think the first the first 2 horror films I ever watched, I was dragged to in middle school. We snuck into the R-rated. It was either Saw 3 or Saw 5. I know to this day, people say it's the best Saw. Whatever the best Saw is, that's the one I snuck into. And then I saw that and I was like,
how old were you? How old were you?
I was like 12 or 13.
Okay. I saw as an older person and I couldn't handle it. I saw the first one and that was like, that's it. I'm done.
It was a lot. And my friends told me, they were like, you know, that's like, there's different types of horror. Like that's like gore horror, but there's other types. So then the one that they thought would be better, which was actually worse than Saw, was The Hills Have Eyes. That's like the worst. Like I can't even think. Every time, like when I was driving through Southern California coming up and I saw The Hills, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm back in the theater. So I stayed away from horror for years. And then it was really interesting because when my ex-husband and I were going through our divorce, the only thing that I could watch, because I was like, I can't watch these like lovey-dovey rom-coms right now. I wasn't like in the headspace for it. The only thing I could watch was horror. So I started watching horror and it did something for me. And it was like cathartic, but also like, it was like exciting in a period of my life where I felt like I didn't have excitement going on. It was just like, kind of bad. And so that's when I started getting into horror. And I was like, it's really interesting that I think people think of horror as like a cheap genre, and like that's why there's no horror category at the Oscars. Like people don't respect it. Yeah, there's no horror.
I did not know that.
Yeah, there was, I think, like decades ago, and then they stopped. And that's what I mean. It's like people don't treat horror like it's an art,
And so it is.
It's probably one of the most artistic ones.
Because
think about
so creative.
The costume and the creativity that has to go into all that stuff.
Yeah.
I agree.
So they always put it in a different category that feels kind of adjacent at the Oscars, but really isn't. And so, I just started to have such an appreciation for horror, what it did for me, and the way that I would see like women's rage portrayed in horror, and the way I would see like, issues, like societal issues, be elevated in horror. And I just started, I took a class on horror writing and on like, deconstructing horror films in college. And so all of that was happening at the same time. And I never thought I would write horror. And then I had a terrible roommate.
Wait.
Oh, there was inspiration.
Yeah, there was inspiration for this.
I love that.
Okay, so
together.
Obviously we read one of your art copies, so we know what's okay, so we gotta know what happened with this roommate.
So this roommate, it did not have the ending that the ending of My Roommate Is Trying to Kill Me had.
Okay.
But I did have a roommate I've always lived with people, just to say I love living with people. I love communal housing. It's like a value of mine. And so I've always had amazing housemates. Like it's always with my spouse, we've always had amazing housemates. This housemate was, I don't know. I thought on paper it was good. On paper it was like checking all the boxes. We lived together and we just start butting heads. And I started feeling like, and this was a long time ago, so it's not, and I never name her or anything, but it was just like, I found myself becoming so anxious in a way that I had never felt anxious before. And I was like, I'm anxious in my own home. Like I'm anxious about the way I'm coming across. I'm like wondering, what is this person thinking of me? And so I feel like a lot of that anxiety is what I put into Hakeem, who's our main character in My Roommate Is Trying to Kill Me. So that was kind of like, it came from feeling maybe not fully maybe unsafe, but unsafe and like psychologically kind of tormented in your own house.
Yeah, Hakeem was totally paranoid. So, so a little tidbit, and you let me know if this is too much to share, but he keeps a notes app list.
Yes.
Okay. And it's fun getting to those parts because he's like, check. And let me add some more.
Yeah.
Were you doing the same thing?
I didn't. Well, I have a notes app, but I did have a text thread between me and my spouse and our normal roommate, because we had two roommates at the same time. Yeah. And I'd be like, am I going crazy? And I'd be like, please tell me if this is in my head. Like, am I overreacting? And they would either say yes. Sometimes they'd be like, yeah, it's not that deep, or sometimes they'd be like, nope, that was a little crazy. That was, we should have a housemate meeting about that. And so I didn't have a notes app, but I did have the text thread.
Oh, wow. That's fun. That's a fun little
I love
tidbit.
that. So that answers the question that we were going to ask you. Where'd you get the inspiration for it?
Well, okay, yeah. Let's be clear. Was that the actual inspiration for the book? Or was there something else?
I will say the two inspirations were, yes, the housemate I had that was bad, but also I dedicate the book. The dedication says dedicated to the best roommates I've ever had. That was back in 2020. And I said, you made the lockdown bearable. Thank you for never trying to kill me.
Oh, yes.
So cute.
Yes. Yeah. I remember reading that. I was like, okay.
Yeah. So those roommates, I mean, that they have my heart forever. Best people I've ever lived with, best friends. And so it was just, when I had this terrible roommate, and it was sad sometimes, because I was like, I know how good it can be. Like, I've had amazing roommates. I've had this amazing connection, and I wanted that so bad, and it just kept not happening. So I think it was just like the, black and white, day and night difference between.
You had a toxic human in your space.
Yeah. And it was just that kind of, it all came together. And my story ended up taking on a life of its own. And in all of my stories, I do put in traits from people I know, or I'll name something out of someone I know, or like, there's always me in the book. It's never purely just fiction. But that is kind of how that came to be.
Now, okay, so the two main characters are Hakeem and Antonio. So yes. We're going to reveal too much, because there's a nice little twist at the end. But which character, I kind of see you fitting into Antonio's vibe, because of something. Not saying exactly what it is.
I know exactly why you're saying it.
Yeah. Okay. So we know, the listener and the reader doesn't know. So, but who do you think you're more like?
I think I am a mix of Hakeem's anxiety. Because I think I'm older now, so I've gotten a control of my anxiety. But it is easy sometimes for me to like start to be like, oh, and my spouse is like, calm down, breathe. You're not that anxious person that you were in your early 20s anymore. So Hakeem's in his 20s, so it's a little, it's that energy. So I think I'm a mix of Hakeem on my worst days, Hakeem's anxiety, but I actually feel like I'm more of his best friend, Layla. Layla's my girl. I love Layla. That felt very much like she is how I interact with my friends. And so writing their dialogue scenes are some of my like favorite moments. Yeah. And when I would write their dialogue scenes, it was really fun, because I would type it and then I would say it out loud as if I was talking, and I'd be like, actually, that's too formal. People don't talk like that, or people use these contractions. And so I feel like one of my strengths that people have told me is my dialogue with characters. And it's because I act it out and I make sure it sounds right.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, and great. I love Layla too. I loved the banter between her and Hakeem. Yeah. And I could totally see what you're saying, how she's very much like yourself. Like, she's very down to earth, very grounded, but also like she's protective and loyal, and she's keeping it real. And even though they're coworkers, she's just like, no, come here.
Yes. Yes.
Let me help you out a little bit.
Yeah. Where's Antonio from?
Antonio, I know, yeah.
He's Hispanic.
His family is from Jalisco in Mexico. And I don't think I ever really say like when he's gotten to Los Angeles, but he's been in Los Angeles for years at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to the two characters. So can you tell us more about the story and the plot without revealing too much about Hakeem and Antonio's journey?
Yes. Yeah. So Hakeem sees an ad on Craigslist for this home that, Hakeem's been kind of bouncing around homes and has had many different housemates, and is like, it's kind of the struggle of when you are the subletter, when you're not the person that has the house and you're renting out rooms, but when you're trying to find a place to land. And he's originally from New Mexico, and he, came to California with hopes of being an actor. And he was like, the actor in his small town in New Mexico. And I'm from a small town, and I know what it's like to be like the big fish in a small pond. And then he comes
Mm-hmm.
to Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is full of big fishes from
I
small towns.
loved that comparison
Mm-hmm.
in the book. You said that out loud in the in the book.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was like, because my niece, she's an actor and she lives in Los Angeles. And it
Yeah.
just made me think of her like, everybody's the best until they get there.
Yeah. And then everybody's the best of that, and it's like,
Mhm.
yeah. So I really wanted to show, because I came from a small town and now I'm in the Bay Area, what it's like and how jarring it can be to have an identity that's shaped by people that have known you since you were like 5, and
Mhm.
then go someplace where you are kind of anonymous. And so he, has had roommates and it wasn't working out. So he finds this Craigslist ad, and it's Antonio's house. And so he moves in with Antonio, and Hakeem is just very, from the moment you meet him, he's very like bubbly. Like he's I think he has a lot of really good energy. And Antonio is very much more reserved. And he's given him a tour of the house. And even in the tour, it's kind of like, okay, like you're kind of standoffish or severe. And Hakeem was trying to like lighten the mood a little bit, and it's like not really going anywhere. But over the course of the book, without giving away spoilers, it's Hakeem gets increasingly nervous with Antonio, and Antonio does not really make it better. He doesn't give
Mhm.
him any reason to not be nervous. I think that a lot of times the way Antonio is, like, yeah, I would be a little scared and nervous at minimum.
Yeah.
And Hakeem has Layla, and he has the last Q, which is like the really cool bar that he works at that
Yes.
I made up. Yeah, I love the last Q. So he does have a world outside of the house, but a lot of the book does happen in the house. And
Mhm.
so that was interesting, of how do I bring in outside world so the setting isn't always the same, but also like there, the significant moments happen in these close quarters with these two characters.
Yeah, yeah. And okay,
Mm.
so like a couple of qualities that I love about Hakeem being in the last queue in the bar, being a bartender in a horror
Yeah.
bar, which is so fun,
Yeah.
is that he has this relationship with his coworkers where they talk about books. So
Yeah.
I love that you inserted books in that way. Like, screw the fact that it's a horror bar.
Yeah.
Let's talk about books. I think that also makes Hakeem paranoid, like,
Yeah.
and anxious because of the books that he loves. And there's a specific book in the story, I don't know if I can say it, but the specific book in the story that he loves that I think applies to all these emotions that he's having, because he's thinking like,
Yeah.
is this house like this book?
Yeah, and that's what I wanted it to be too. Is it's like, yes, the book itself, like you could say, the book, the genre, because I think it fits several different genres, but it's like horror, romance, dark comedy, things like that. But it's also horror because this is an actor that wants to be a horror actor. He
Mm-hmm.
reads horror novels. He watches horror movies.
Yes.
Like, his life is horror. That's just like his niche, and that's his personality. And so I think that if that is your personality, that it's easy to see the world through that lens.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Ah, how exciting. Oh my goodness. Okay. I cannot wait to read it. I feel like out of the loop because I know a little bit about it, but I need the whole thing.
So, what kind of advice would you give another author or aspiring writer in this genre?
Ooh, I would say sometimes I think that when I first started writing, that I shouldn't, I know it sounds like counterintuitive, but I felt like if I was starting writing years ago, that I shouldn't read while I write, because, oh, what if I accidentally take from this book and put it in my writing and I don't know? Because that
Mm-hmm.
happens sometimes, you like absorb that. Or I would be like, oh, I can't like engage in I can't watch TV, I can't watch movies while I'm writing, I need to focus. But I have found over the years that reading other books, either not in my genre or in my genre, but a plot that I would have never come up with, or that's very different than I normally go for, watching movies, it has made me so much of a stronger writer. And I think it's just like seeing other authors, even if it's like big traditionally published authors that you don't have a relationship with, but
Mm-hmm.
seeing them truly as your peers and not as competitors. There's a reader for every book, and trying to, I love the author friends that I have, and it's like we really are stronger in honing our crafts together. So I think finding other authors that you can talk to. I'm a part of a writers group for moms. And so every other Tuesday we get together for like 2 hours and we write and we do free writes and exercises.
In person or
It's
online?
on Zoom, but it's for Bay
Oh,
Area moms. Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. So
How
I'm like in my
exciting.
writing group. I have writer friends. And then also I take writing workshops or I'll take classes at the local community college just because I'm like, you know what? Actually, I haven't taken creative writing since 2015. Maybe something has changed. I'm going to go back. Um, but also just like doing as much research as you can is this last thing I would say is just I think it's really important to have sensitivity readers if you're reading
Mm,
from something that's not your experience.
yeah.
I use sensitivity readers. Um, I cannot stress that enough because you don't know what you don't know. And
Mm,
so if
That's
you're
right.
writing about something that's not from your background, you need someone from that background to read it. So hiring sensitivity readers, it's worth it. It's worth the money, so that you don't cause unintentional harm. But
yeah.
also just, you know, keep seeing this as like, your craft is just going to keep evolving. And any opportunity you have to work on your craft and get used to what it feels like to be rejected and celebrate your wins and things like that. Like, yeah, that's amazing.
It's funny that you're bringing up sensitivity readers because I just recently learned that this is what authors are doing now. I saw another favorite author of mine post on Instagram that she was looking for sensitivity readers. It's Ruby Dixon, Mercy. Ruby
Okay,
that we
of course.
interviewed. Yeah, so
Yes, yes.
she was posting that she needed these readers for her books
Mhm.
and specific topics. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that is great, that you're doing that because
That's wonderful.
it's just like someone who's not, a person of color writing about a person of color. Like, how do
Yeah.
you like, you need to,
To
share
do it
yeah,
right and
you need to
justice.
do it right
Absolutely.
and share with people who are from that ethnicity or gender
Mm,
or whatever, just to get their
Mhm.
feedback before you put it out in the
hmm.
world. Because before you know it, you're going to have hate now. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
go viral. We don't know what's going to take off. And I mean, yeah,
Stay a
it's been
step
interesting.
ahead, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I
That's
love that.
excellent.
I love
Excellent.
that.
And we were talking to an author earlier today, and we were asking, we know that uh, social media marketing is such a great tool for authors.
Mhm.
What do you find is your favorite platform, and how do you balance the 100% that you give your child, your spouse, your house, your writing, your job, everything else? How do you manage to find time in all of that without going into a hole, like into a black hole, when you go on social media? So,
Well,
do you
Instagram is
select?
yeah, sorry. To answer you, Instagram is my only social media. Everyone's telling me to get on author threads, and to make a TikTok, and maybe that'll happen eventually. I've been kind of thinking about threads because I have a personal threads with like one follower who's my spouse, but I just go on there just to read things. But Instagram is very manageable for me right now, and I worry that if I add to that, it will become unmanageable.
Hmm.
I do have assistants that help me manage some of the Instagram stuff. And I'm an author with Rattle the Stars PR firm. And so I'm a new author with them, and they are going to be handling like my ARC distribution and Discord and things like that for me. So it's nice because then the maintenance of it all gets handled. And then all I have to do is focus on like the fun stuff, which is engaging with readers. And I make
Mhm.
all my own graphics. I love the graphic design of it all. And so, like making graphics, posting, answering comments, being on Discord with readers, that's awesome. When it's the other stuff, like the art distribution and newsletters and things like that, that is what I have to get someone to help me with. That's like a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is a
yeah,
lot.
it is a
That
lot.
is a lot.
And you mentioned Discord, so let's talk a little bit about that. So, do you have a
Yeah.
Discord just for my roommate is trying to kill me, or just for the author Maya?
So I'm very excited. When ARCs open up for My Roommate's Trying to Kill Me, which will be June 15th, it'll be on Instagram. It'll be on my Instagram, which is at Maya-Gawonii Writes, and it'll be on the Rattle the Stars PR Instagram. but there will be a Discord only for the ARC readers. And I will be in that Discord chatting with all the ARC readers, answering questions, being excited. There's going to be a spoiler chat and a non-spoiler chat. So I'm very excited for that. And with my last book, or my latest release that came out March 31st, that was The Margins Between Us. I had an ARC reader just Instagram chat that I had like pinned, and I was in there all the time talking to people. And I was like, ask me questions. I want to get to know you all. Like, I love talking to people. So I love it.
And do you find like there's okay, so I'm Gen X. And my kids use Discord. So going along with this question, my kids use Discord, and it was a learning curve for me to use it. So let's talk about your readers. So your readers that will be engaging for the ARC, do they have to be savvy in Discord? Are you teaching them how to use it? These are all questions like I'm sure authors
I have a better
are thinking
question.
about.
What is it? What is that? What are you talking about?
Discord is like it's like a, I don't know how they call the platform, but it's like you have channels in Discord, and it's like messaging within the channels.
So it's like its own app?
Yeah, it's its own like messaging app, but and you can like message pictures and stuff, but it's not like Instagram where there's like a grid, and it's literally just channels that are themed, and then you go into the channel and you chat about whatever that channel theme is.
Think about like back in the days when we had chat boards. It's very similar to that. Yeah. So what I was saying is there a learning curve for the people coming on your ARC team. Do they have to know about Discord already? Are you going to teach them? Like, what's that like?
Yeah, I think all they're going to really need to do is download Discord. Either I use the app on my phone because it's so easy. The computer is fine too, but then you only can get on it when you're at your computer. But Rattle the Stars helps orient people to it. So I have not used Discord until I became an author with Rattle the Stars, and they have everything set up. It is so professional. And they just I will say it doesn't seem very hard. Like, you don't even have to set up a profile really. You just like kind of upload a picture, and then there's the channels. So it's not, I'll say Instagram to me is more difficult than Discord. And I was very intimidated by Discord, but it's actually easy peasy, and they're going to walk everybody through it.
I love that. This is good to know, because, we have to keep up with what's happening in our author, biosphere, and all the new things that people are using, because we don't want to get left behind, and want to utilize all the free ways, quote unquote, free ways of marketing,
Yeah.
And
so that's your agent that is doing this.
Rattle the Stars is my PR firm. I'm unagented. I would say, I guess I'm considered a hybrid author, because I'm traditionally published through, I have essays like was mentioned in Dead Pretty. That's with a publisher. I have an essay in Echoes of the Earth. That's with a publisher. And then I actually just had a third essay accepted into a book with another publisher. That's like the traditional publishing avenue. But for my stories, I do indie self-publishing because I really like to put things out on my timeline. And like the work in progress I have right now that's going to come out next February, for a moment I sat with it and I was like, I think it is kind of like really possible to get traditionally published. It's upmarket, it's literary, it kind of feels like the type of thing that an agent picks up. But then that would be like 3 to 4 years before it hits shelves. And the context of that story by the time it hits shelves would be historical context. It wouldn't be what's happening now. And so I have to it's hard. I have to decide. I have like a catalog of things that could be put out, could not be. And I'm like, what gets submitted to a literary contest? What gets submitted to an agent? What do I do? So every time a book comes up, I think about it. And with my roommates trying to kill me, I knew for sure. I was like, this is the type of book I want full control over. I want to do the timeline. Having a PR firm is amazing. Like that, the PR firm is doing for me a lot of what I thought an agent would do. And so having the PR firm is like, oh, okay, if I had an agent, I would still have to manage X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So this kind of feels like a perfect, situation.
And it's a business model if you think about it. So having a PR firm makes sense. You try to promote.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And a PR agency would be something that you would actually search for and you hire, or is it like an agent where they would have to accept you?
So it kind of goes both ways. Like if you, so for authors that are traditional authors and have an agent, they will either, the agent and the publisher in-house does their PR, or they have a PR firm. So that's their thing. For self-published indie authors, you do seek out the PR firm, but it's kind of a two-way interview, which is like how it is with agents, right? It's like that
Mhm.
you have to kind of sell yourself to the agent, but then also it's like, well, do I want you? Are you going to be my cheerleader? So
Right.
with my PR firm, it's like I sought them out, but then it was that interview of like, is this the type of author that we want to bring on? Is she exciting and interesting? Is she writing something that's not really being done right now or done in this way with her voice? And then for me, it's like, what capacity do they have? Like some PR firms have hundreds and hundreds of authors, and it's like, am I going to get the level of attention and care that I kind of need right
Yeah.
now at this point in my career? So I did talk to several PR firms, but I landed on Rattle the Stars, and I'm so happy with them so far.
I love it.
Oh,
I
good.
love it.
Good.
So I have a fun question before we get to like what's happening next. Okay. So in your book, My Roommate is Trying to Kill Me, there are some fun drinks.
Yes.
Now, I know you're not a drinker, but
Yes.
what have you had someone try these drinks? Like, how did you get the recipes for these? Because there is one exciting one that I think I want to add to this promotion in June.
Yes, I can send the recipes for all of them if you'd
I
like.
would love it. So
So
we can put in the newsletter. That'd
yes,
be so much fun.
yes,
Can I say the name of the recipe? Like the
yes,
main recipe? Okay, it's called the White Lighter. And
yes.
it has tequila.
Ooh, I like.
Well, I will say, like, I am allergic to alcohol, which is funny because it's a bar is where Hakeem works. But before I was allergic to alcohol, I did drink alcohol, and that's how I found out I was allergic.
Oh
Oh,
So I do
goodness.
know how certain things taste, and like, I can still, if I can have one cocktail if it's not too strong, and I take a Benadryl. So
okay.
that helps me with
Okay.
the experimentation of it all. Some of it I really did have to I was Googling like pairings, like when making cocktails. I actually went on Anthropology, which is so random, but Anthropology, they have like a cocktail section of their website, and they have
Hmm.
very unique cocktail accents. Like they have
Oh,
sugar cubes that are made of butterfly pea flower, and that's how you turn drinks blue. So I searched through Anthropology. I looked up alcohol pairings. I had friends that do drink that I was like, does this sound good? Or, so that's how they all kind of came together. I have not made them yet, but I'm excited because as part of the promo for this, I am going to make some of the cocktails, and I'm going to post them as reels on Instagram.
oh,
So
you
Oh,
gotta
I
tag
love
us so we
that.
can share
I
it.
love
yeah,
That's
that.
so much fun.
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyone, especially if it's in a martini glass,
Yes.
Oh yes, yes, for sure.
glass
And
is mine.
because
Love that.
I totally binged the book last night. Of course, today I didn't have any of the ingredients for my martini. I was bummed.
Oh,
I was like,
Yeah.
there's no tequila in the
aw.
house.
I will make sure to send the recipes because I also, I would love if folks did make some of these recipes and tagged me and told me
Yeah.
like how, tell me honestly, it's if it wasn't very good, that's okay. I've had drinks that aren't very good.
I
It's still
I
fun.
can be your guinea pig. I have
Yes.
a full bar and I entertain a lot of friends. So send me some and I will make a video and I will
Thirsty
tag you.
Thursday.
Oh, I
For
would
real.
love that.
Absolutely. So I have two questions for you.
Yes.
Who's your favorite author? And I'm talking about like horror author, not authors that, we know now, like friends, but like a big name author that inspired you that you would read. And what's your favorite horror movie? Like I want to see where that
Mm,
connection lies. Is it
okay.
the same person and then they made the movie or
I think it was Stephen King.
Okay.
yeah, I'm thinking, but I didn't want to say the name.
Go
I
ahead.
will say
Interesting.
I'm not sure if it's so I will say, I think maybe surprising is I don't read a lot of horror books. I watch a lot of horror movies and horror like television shows, but I think when you're reading horror, it sits in your body differently than when you're watching it.
Mhm.
So that can be kind of hard.
It's a lot scarier.
Yeah, it is, especially because it's
I think it is.
you know, you pause the movie, you get up, you know, but the book kind of, it's inside of you a little bit. So I will say though, the first horror that I ever read, it actually wasn't Stephen King, and I think that he is a lot of people's starts, but it was the Odd Thomas series by Dean Koontz.
Oh,
okay.
And I love Odd Thomas. They made one movie of it, and I think the movie did its best. It wasn't bad. It just did its best.
It just wasn't the book.
It wasn't the book. And the book series, I can't remember how many books are in it. You can kind of read them standalone. You can, as long as you read the first one, the other ones can be read out of order. But Dean Koontz, Odd Thomas, that was the first time I read a book as a teenager and was scared.
Oh,
yeah. And then,
and what's your favorite movie?
Yeah, my favorite movie, I will say, I think my favorite horror movie, it changes based on what's going on in my life and in the world. But for a long time, it's been Midsommar. And I have such hot takes on Midsommar. That's for another conversation.
You know, my kid loves that too. Like
I love Midsommar.
They watched it so many times.
I honestly, A24 horror is like my jam.
Yes,
my favorite director is
their production house.
A24.
Every time I see A24, I'm like, oh, I know this is going to be good.
Yeah, I love Hereditary. The most recent horror film I watched that I really enjoyed actually is called Barbarian. That one was crazy. And I watched it while I was writing My Roommate is Trying to Kill Me.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that yet. Barbarian.
That one is very intense, but it's very good. You think it's, as you're watching it, it's 3 different movies in one. That's the only way I can say it.
Oh snap. Okay, I definitely have to look that up. What's next after this?
Next as in books, or next as in
this book? My Roommate is Trying to Kill Me.
Okay, for what's next for My Roommate is Trying to Kill Me? Well, I'm going to continue making the cocktail reels to post on Instagram, taking my time with that, because I think there's 9 or 10 cocktails in the book, so that's like 9 or 10
perfect content.
Yeah, so I'm going to make the reels. I'm very excited. I just cast the voice actor to be Hakeem. So,
okay.
Yes.
Who can you share that?
Yes, actually, I want to
tell us all offline too, because we have a bunch of narrators.
I will tell you offline.
Okay,
I'm going to make the announcement on Instagram. I just cast him yesterday. We just signed the contract. And it's one voice actor. He's playing both Hakeem and Antonio, but the way he differentiates their voices. And I had a lot of people actually audition in a short amount of time. It's been less than a week, and I posted.
How did you go about that process? How did you go about that process?
Is Audible and Apple Books. They use ACX, which is just the Amazon platform. And once you have your title listed for pre-order, you claim it, you post whatever you want the script to be. So you post like a portion from your book, and it can't be more than like so many words. And then people just start sending in their like MP3 voices to you through the platform. And so this man, his name is Rob. I'll have to look up how to pronounce his last name later, but his name is Rob, and he sent in his audition. And I remember, even though like this, My Roommate's Trying to Kill Me, my child is not old enough to read this book, but they heard so much about it, my kid. And so I was like, do you want to hear? I was like, I think this is the guy. Do you want to hear? And so my kid's listening, my spouse was listening. I was like, okay, we're going to try one more thing. So I did a callback, and the callback script is actually chapter 9 of the book, which is like climax. Without spoiling it. But yeah, I'm like, like that's the big, so I had him do that. And I'm like, if he can do this, then I know it's set. I know it's good. And he sent it to me. I don't know how many takes it took, but he sent it to me. It was perfect. It was so good. I was reading the script as I was listening to his voice on my phone, and like I noticed that my mouth was open. I was like as I'm like, these are my words. But the way he was delivering it was
alive.
So
my words are alive.
I love that.
So good. And so I immediately was like, you got it. You have totally got it. So on August 11th of this year, 2026, when it comes out, that's when the audiobook will come out. You can't on Amazon, you can't pre-order audiobooks, but it'll be out on the same day.
And you can pre-order it now.
They
Yes,
can
it is
pre-order the
available for
book.
pre-order. Yes, on Amazon. If you just type in "My Room is Trying to Kill Me" or "Maya-Gawonii," it'll pop up.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Awesome. We love it.
Excellent. We cannot wait.
Yep.
Thank
Yep.
you so much.
And this has been so wonderful having you on the Books and Martinis podcast. And I am thoroughly excited to feature you as our author spotlight for June. Like, this is amazing, Maya.
Yes,
like, your
yes.
work was so good, and you are so eclectic, and you know, get all these special things about you. We can't wait to put you out there and feature you.
Thank
on
you
our
so
podcast.
much. This was so fun. And, you know, I've written novellas, but this is the debut novel. So this one's big for me.
All right. Yeah. So to all the listeners, start pre-ordering. You have to get your book.
Yes. Check her out online. All the information will be in the summary below. And of course, look at our social media handles and read up on Maya. Maya, how can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram, which is at Maya-Gawonii Writes, and my website, just to see what else I'm published in and everything that's going on with me, is cowriecrossings.com, and I'll send all that information to you all. And one thing I want to plug is that if they pre-order the hardcover special edition, my hardcover special edition is gorgeous. The title is in gilded, like reflective gold. Wow. And the edges are sprayed, and it's red sprayed edges with black palm trees, and it's beautiful. So yes, just saying, the hardcovers are amazing.
Oh wow, we can't wait to see that.
Yeah,
I want that so bad. I already have a spot. I'm gonna put it on the library. A little light.
All right, let's do one last cheers with my pretend white lighter. I wish I had it. All right, Maya, cheers to your success, salud, and everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see all the amazing feedback for your book, and we wish you much success. Thank you for being a guest. Everyone,
Maya.
Like, share, follow, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.